careful. You might learn something.
Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Factual Opinions Podcast with your hosts. I am Pharaoh. Straight facts.
All right. Welcome back, world. Season 2, episode 18, Factual Opinions Podcast. This one is entitled Schools in Session. For a number of reasons, schools jumping off everywhere around the country. Got a lot of things going on. I am your host, I am Pharaoh, flanked, of course, by Will West, the best, Nate.
You know it.
And the Brown, Bruce Wayne, Big John.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, gentlemen, first of all, it's been a couple weeks. How are we?
I'm angry.
Kind of quiet.
I'm angry.
Angry because?
Cause I'm still waiting on this Errol Spence and Bud to sign these contracts. That's why I'm gonna
do that because you and your cousin gonna owe me some money.
I ain't gonna owe you nothing.
Bud gonna take care of that.
No, all right. We go. All right.
So speaking of that, that's actually a perfect segue. You know, every now and then I try to do a brain teaser before we get started in the sports or music topics, whatever we're talking about. Got a philosophical question today. This applies to life, just not sports. Do you love to win or you hate to lose more?
Even though I'm a little bit, easier on myself when it comes to wins and losses, but I still hate to lose at heart. Like, especially with who I am, how I prepare, how I do things, and the old athlete in me, man, if you work harder, you do this, you're gonna win. So I hate to lose, especially when something's important or something's on the line, man, I just hate to lose.
Nate?
I'm going with I love to win. Due to the reason I say that is because when I win, everybody else wins. That's how I think of it in my mind. I've been thinking, like you said, it's like more of a deep thinking situation. And I thought about it, like after you even asked me yesterday, I really sat there for about a good 20 minutes just thinking about it. I love to win due to the fact that I know once I win, everybody else gonna win. I'm putting everybody in the same position. I'm gonna try my best to get everybody to win just like I won.
For sure.
Well, you good brothers have known me practically my whole life, so I think you know what my answer is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to lose. Both of you at various times in my life have told me that I need to focus more on celebrating small victories and patting myself on the back and acknowledging, where I've been. And I've tried to get better with that over the years, but the way I'm driven and how tunnel vision, I am, I get locked in. And honestly, the way I was raised by my parents, I expect to win. So, you put in the effort to do what you need to do in whatever area of society, work, school, play, whatever, sports. I put the effort in to win. So I figure that's going to take care of itself. Losing is something that I can't tolerate. So that's how I'm wired with that.
Can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Is every loss really a loss?
Now that I'm older and can reflect on something like that a little bit better, no. As long as you learn or take something away from it, and more importantly, the way I'm wired, because everybody's going to take L's in life. Like, you lying if you say that you don't.
For sure.
The key is, at least what I try to do with myself, anytime the devil gets me on something, I actually laugh. Because I'm like, you're not going to get me with the same thing. So you're going to come with something different. Next time. 'Cause I'm not a need to bump my head multiple times type guy. Like, you get me with something, usually I get that lesson the first time. So, no, as long as you, learn something and can apply it going forward, it's never a total loss. But there was a point in time in my life where I believed in what Coach Lombardi used to say. What did he say? Winning's not the only thing. No, he said winning's not everything. It's the only thing. Yeah. And that's not
it's
really
just like you're the first or you're last. That's the same way of saying
it. I mean, there's different ways of saying it. I don't really, believe that necessarily anymore. And I think that's, something kind of like coach speak, when you're working with athletes and trying to get people to strive for perfection, knowing full well, nobody can accomplish that. But no, I don't think that every loss is a true loss as long as you can gain something from it. So, speaking of that, a topic that is near and dear to me and Nate's heart, the boxing game we get to talk about. Not going to spend long on this first topic. According to reports, Errol Spence and Bud Crawford are very close to finalizing a deal that will have them facing off for the undisputed welterweight title come November.
It was November 12th or either November the 19th. So It's in the middle of November, regardless of what the date was, but it looks like it's going to happen. We talked about that. We talked to me and you talked about that a lot. Like, we didn't think it was going to happen this year, but we kind of thought it was going to happen.
Well, we talked about it for several episodes, so wake me when it happens. That's why I said we're not going to spend much time on it. Wake me when it happens. But what we do have Saturday is we have a rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua for the unified heavyweight title.
I like how you said that.
For people that are not into boxing, that means every belt that Tyson Fury does not own is on the line. The 3 or 4 other belts. Four other belts. Anthony Joshua has a chance to, avenge his second career loss and become a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. Mm-hmm. Or Mr. Usyk could take his. Well, I don't know if he's going back to Ukraine right now, but
nah, he's staying. He's staying. He's been. He trained in. They said he was training in 3 different places.
Yeah,
they said it was Portugal was one. He came to the States. And he was somewhere else. But yeah, like he can't go home right now. So
it's draft season, Mr. Joshua. Get your belts back, and
I don't think it's gonna happen.
It may or it may not, but I would love to see a virtuoso performance and do like his fellow London country mate Lennox Lewis, who finished with 2 losses and avenged both of them. And
for sure,
once he got his belts back, he didn't lose them anymore until he retired. So he could very much write that script if he, comes out and is focused and does what he needs to do. Really, not to get too deep into it, it's going to come down to him being what he should have been the first fight as the bigger man, cutting off the ring, not letting Usyk, run around like
move around like he did. Or something. I'd never seen nobody move around like that against Joshua ever.
Well, hopefully he's been working on that. He's got a new trainer also.
Yeah, I did see that.
Diaz, Joel Diaz out there. So I hope he does that. If he's able to cut the ring off and it's the Anthony Joshua I'm expecting a TKO in the 8th or 9th round for Anthony Joshua.
I think this is going to distance again. I don't think he's going to be able to cut the ring off because it's not just he's not very good at that. That's something he doesn't do well. I don't think the foot speed is really what's going to win this fight. Whoever can move the most.
Well, he's certainly an athlete, and I hope that he's been working on that because he has an opportunity to, like I said,
make history
and be a 3-time heavyweight champ, and he's still young. So, but another boxing topic to move along on that, we had former world champ, Cincinnati native, Adrien "The Problem" Broner pull out of his upcoming return, fight. Comeback fight, whatever you want to call it, due to mental health reasons. Something that I know personally, as we talked about off the record, we're not going to make light of. A serious situation for everybody, even non-athletes.
And he's not the first boxer to go through this. Danny Garcia was the second one to come out to say, Danny Swift Garcia was the second one to come out, say he was dealing with mental health, going through a dark day. I mean, it's possible for everybody to go through it. It's human nature for people to go through things. And I know the Cincinnati folk are hard on this young man and they ride him till he done. They want to see him progress, but then they don't want to see him progress. So we just wish him the best and hope he comes out of this dark day. And we hope he just gets the help he needs to survive this darkness. So,
well, Big John has a perfect saying that I think he borrowed from Fabulous. That is along the lines of that, which I'll let him say. But it's been said many different ways. But home is where the hate is. We've experienced that with Factual Opinions podcast as well. But what would you say about that situation?
The quote is, man, people want to see you doing good, but not better than them. And a lot of times, with AB being from the city, and he has done what he's done, and he has had some level of success. There are going to be a lot of people that back him as well as a lot of people that don't back him. We all know, we laugh and we joke, and, AB has put himself, in the spotlight for positive and negative reasons. But the young man is going through something. He needs some support right now. And not having your mind right in the boxing ring ain't really the place you want to be.
No.
Because that can end badly in a lot of different ways.
That can end your life.
So hopefully, he gets the help that he needs. He comes back stronger. Then he can, finish his career out by his choosing.
Absolutely. So, AB, my thoughts are with you, man. Hope you get it together.
Prayers to you and your family and everything.
Absolutely. It's bigger than boxing, bigger than sports. That's a humanity issue. So hope you get that together. Now, moving away from the boxing, we have college football on the horizon. Last episode, we had the great Wayne Box Miller, the voice of Bengals radio on. We talked about, the Bengals in particular and the NFL season upcoming. So now we're going to get into college football, something I know that is near and dear to me and Big John's heart, especially.
For sure.
But Nate also, the AP, Associated Press, which in the world of journalism, which I'm in, is like the Bible, released their ratings yesterday. The Alabama Crimson Tide are going to start the season at number 1. The Ohio State Buckeyes will start at number 2. Number 3, the Georgia Bulldogs. Number 4.
Georgia was 3?
They were number 3.
No, it was 3. I thought they was.
Actually, slipping my mind who's number 4 right now. But Clemson, excuse me. And I know that Notre Dame is number 5. So Ohio State will have a top 5 matchup out the gate on September 3rd when they open up from Ohio Stadium against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Interesting.
A lot of headlines going on in the Big Ten in particular. I'm a Big Ten guy, so we focus
right now.
We focus a lot on that. To Big John's dismay on this program, the Big Ten announced that they are ending their partnership with ESPN in 2023.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that.
So it will be Fox Sports and it will be NBC. And
when is Big 12? The midday games, they do be on ESPN sometime.
Yeah, I mean, not as much because they've been transitioning. And you've seen, Fox Sports is going to be the main one. And
so now, does that
CBS,
include...
that was
CBS,
the other one I forgot. Now, you know why the CBS is important.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to get on there because you know what other conference plays on CBS.
SEC.
So it's a direct battle, as we predicted, the Big Ten and the SEC for college football supremacy at this point.
For sure, it is.
So that's a big move for the Big Ten and going away from ESPN and ABC. But focusing in on these Buckeyes.
Go ahead and get your rocks off. I'm with you. I want to hear what's new. I got to hear new because I pay attention, but I'm not all the way in Ohio State like you.
Unfortunately, we had some bad news out of campus today. Evan Pryor, the Buckeyes' third-string running back who was going to get carries this year and be an integral part of the attack with him, Mayan Williams, and, of course, Travion Henderson, suffered a pretty significant knee injury that will keep him out the entire 2022 season. So prayers out to him.
Prayers to your young brother.
But this is another one of those scenarios why you see why Ryan Day and Tony Alford recruit the way they do. Because unfortunately it does become next man up in this situation. So I'm really excited. I think that, a lot of people get maybe too excited about preseason rankings because, none of this stuff really matters.
Doesn't mean nothing until we hit the field.
It don't. And 2 of the top 5, I feel like, and I'm not hating, I don't really think they belong there. And that would be Clemson.
You said 2?
2 of the top 5. And that would be Clemson and Notre Dame. Notre Dame, for years, since we was kids, probably would always be ranked higher than they should because they would always have 1 or 2 losses in the season that, solidify that. And I'm glad, they got the new coach. They got a lot of recruits coming in. So they probably going off what they project them to be, but I don't think they're there yet. And Clemson has been on a decline for a couple of years now.
I feel like they played UC about this too.
That Clemson has been on a decline for a couple of years now. And, I'm not saying that, they can't get it back together or that they can't get the recruits they were getting, but they have been on a decline and they have to prove that they are still, one of the top 3 teams. I don't feel like they have.
Well, Clemson had the 28th ranked recruiting class last year.
How are they that high?
Because just like they give Notre Dame and another team, they keep giving Oklahoma that grace of being a top 5 team, and they're not proving they're a top 5
And
team.
I just realized Texas A&M was ranked really high this year.
Well, for the past decade, and I hate to do this, but, you have to be factual. Clemson, obviously has been battling Alabama and Ohio State usually for that top spot. So the cupboard's not bare, but, when you're coming off it's not as stocked as it used to be. And when you're coming off off season where you lost both your offensive and defensive coordinator in the same, I don't know that it's just going to click the way that Dabo and
That's
company
why I said it's questionable.
hope.
That just sounds so questionable. Like, this ain't even the same team.
Right. It ain't been
Trevor
the same.
Lawrence and all them.
But even with them, it ain't even the last team. It's been the past 3 years.
They're not even the best team in that conference.
Not right now, no.
Who's the best team in the ACC?
It might be North Carolina.
Not to be funny, it's North Carolina.
Yeah.
It could be North Carolina. It could be Pitt. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx us, or it could be us. But we don't see. And that's just us off the past years of recruiting, and we got crystal ball.
Yeah,
but
I got the new coaching staff.
I don't know that the U is going to be right back in year one, but I would love to see it.
And Georgia Tech tough.
I would love to see it.
right.
But Notre Dame technically is affiliated with the ACC and football, so they count because they can play in the ACC championship if they run the table, even though they're still technically independent.
I hate how they work. I hate how that independent works.
It's the University of the United States, so
yeah, that's true.
Win one for the Gipper, right?
Yeah.
But no, they'll take that L opening week. I'm confident with saying that.
Yeah, I'm for sure with that too.
Marcus Freeman, shout out to Marcus Freeman, man. We used to chill in the barbershop with Jihad, and that's when he was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he was
for
at UC. Yeah.
And of course, I'm asking him all Buckeye questions and stuff when he was in there, like, "You still cool with James Laurinaitis?" So, but no, he used to entertain it. He was cool about it or whatever. So, I didn't like his comments about Ohio State and we actually do go to class at Notre Dame and all this other stuff. It's like, bro, didn't you graduate?
Yeah,
from Ohio State.
He graduated from the Ohio State University.
But, they'll take care of
That's
that
a
opening
lot of
weekend.
sneak dissing going on with this game, man.
Speaking of sneak dissing, Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of that team up north, why is it that when they asked him directly at the Big Ten media, luncheon this year, that comment you made, Coach, last year after that game in November where you won for the 4th time in 21 years against your rival. Just want to throw that out there. About certain people being born on third base and inheriting situations versus the,
Sounds trifling.
catastrophic circumstances Brady Hoke left you in when you took the job at Michigan. Was that directed at the Buckeyes head coach Ryan Day? I have no comment on that right now. No, you said it, bruh. Don't run from it now because it's a new season and you got to come to Columbus that last Saturday in November and what's going to happen.
He ain't got the heat.
But I wanted to ask you about that because I heard Braylon Edwards, who is, if anybody follows me in my work, 2 people or entities at the University of Michigan that I admit I am a fan of, even with my scarlet and gray blood. That being the Fab Five and Braylon Edwards.
I don't see how you skip Charles Woodson.
Yeah, man. Out of anybody, I'd do Charles Woodson before I do Braylon Edwards.
But the reason why I say that,
Braylon Edwards ain't even had good hands.
But Braylon Edwards was a dog.
Oh, stop it.
Hold on, Braylon Edwards
He got to the league and didn't have good hands.
We're not talking about the league.
All right.
Now, I had to correct that, though, because when we had these college football conversations, a lot of people do that. They immediately go to, well, what do they do in the NFL? We're talking about college. That's why they have a college football Hall of Fame and a pro football Hall of
I'm
Fame.
talking about college.
Well, my apologies.
You being
I still don't like him.
How do you not like Charles Woodson? How do you? I understand he went to Michigan. I get it, but you picked Braylon Edwards over Charles Woodson.
I can respect Charles Woodson's game and rank him as the second best corner behind primetime ever without liking the individual.
True.
I think he's a sucker because he was born and raised in Ohio.
But like you pointed out to me, he was born on the border, so he pretty much
He had a choice to go where he wanted to go.
Over and went to Michigan.
Yeah, he was right there, bro.
Look, Braylon is from Detroit, 313. So he stayed home. He represented University of Michigan. His dad went to the University of Michigan.
Right.
So you expected that.
You like Marlon Jackson?
Yeah, but see you cherry picking now.
Yeah, I'm just messing with him because he be talking all that stuff. That's why I be messing with him. But go ahead.
Shout out to my boy DeRico Murray because he a diehard Michigan fan. His uncle played for them. God rest his soul. But I had to tell him the other day. I said Michigan ain't won in a long time, bro. So I'm glad you got your win when you got your win this past year.
Well, while we're doing this, shout out to Kareem, who watches every episode, listens to every episode. Ring? Shout out to Triggs, my brother from another mother. Mm-hmm. Of course, two of the fans of that team up north that I can tolerate. Mm-hmm. But no, like, honestly, I want to ask y'all, like, do y'all think that Ryan Day was born on third base?
No.
Because nobody's giving him credit for being a great coach, which he is.
Look, he's putting in the work to be a great coach. He's getting the recruits. He has the win and loss category. And the whole point of him being born on third base, first of all, when you inherit a program, you don't want to inherit the program in a dump. I love Braylon Edwards, and it's probably kind of salty for him because Lloyd Carr left Michigan in great standing. So Rich Rodriguez got there.
Yep.
After Rich Rodriguez got there, he damaged the program. He left it to Brady Hope. Brady Hope didn't bring it back. So now they're trying to bring it back, with Mr. Harbaugh.
Through Harbaugh.
And
I think he only got 1 year left.
He probably feels some kind of way, but you never want to leave your program in bad standing.
Well, you don't, but also it's not typical what The Ohio State University has done, because I try to explain to people, like, it's deeper than football. Like, the Ohio State football program is essential to the state of Ohio's economy. Like, it plays a part in the yearly income and everything. Like, there's too many jobs on the line. And it's not like we have beaches or anything here, or so many different attractions in the state of Ohio.
Beaches, but they in the middle of nowhere.
You don't have beaches here in Ohio. It's what we have. So, like it or not, there's too many jobs on the line to let it fail. Now, if you want to go back and really think about this, we talked about it off the air. You're talking about, 1942, they won their first national championship with Paul Brown at the Ohio State University. You go from that, you go to Woody Hayes, you go to Earl Bruce, John Cooper, Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, and now Ryan Day. There's not too many schools that are going to be able to sustain that. So I can understand why Braylon may feel the type of way that he feels currently, because you got to remember.
So he just mad because he just want to be mad.
Well, he didn't like Jim Harbaugh a couple years ago either.
Right. I remember him making that. I remember him tweeting, and he was on a rant when that hire happened.
Him and what's the guy that used to play receiver for the Giants? Amani Toomer. Yeah, Toomer. Was another outspoken former Michigan Wolverine, critic. And I don't think that anybody is necessarily in love with Jim Harbaugh, especially since he flirted leaving, going with the Minnesota Vikings, this offseason, really had one foot out the door.
Yeah, he did. He realized that job wasn't going to be there for him.
But, like I said, if you do something for only the fourth time in, 21 years, yeah, you're going to be a little hyped. So everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid right now. But, people like me are like, okay, run it back. Let's see what happens this year. But
my quote on that, you can beat me this time, you ain't gonna beat me twice.
I just think, getting back to the original question, I think that Ryan Day is a hell of a coach. I'm not just saying that because, he coaches at the Ohio State University. I've always said, feel like one day he will be an NFL head coach, but not until he wins, 1 or 2 titles in Columbus. I know he's going to get, at least one, more than likely a couple before he leaves, and that's really his focus. But I don't understand how you can detract. As of right now, since the college football era took place and Urban Meyer's retired, he's the only Big Ten coach that has won a college football playoff game. Mm-hmm. Period. You look at what he's...
My opinion, I'm going to put my prediction out there. This will be the year they win.
Big John?
Yeah, I mean, really? Y'all really have the best chance to win it this year, man, especially with Mr. Stroud playing the way he played. And I know me and Al have had plenty of conversations about him, about, his want to, his drive, his ability, everything. And I am a football player first. And, we always joke about me not being the biggest Ohio State fan, but I always give credit where credit is due. And I like Mr. Stroud.
So give him some credit, Big John.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Give him some credit.
Even a couple years ago, Alex didn't think they were gonna get their revenge against Clemson. I said, Alex, it's coming. It's coming, and it's coming bad. It is gonna be bad. He's like, man, I don't know, man. They got our number. No,
Al get on edge when the game on.
It's coming. And I because I said, man, once you stop the two Trevors, it's over. Yeah. Once you stop them, it's over because they had nobody else on the outside. I said, I seen this coming. But yeah, but getting back on topic, man, like Mr. Stroud is gonna really, I think he really gonna do his thing this year. Really, I mean, everybody that's Alabama's really. I mean, when do they ever really rebuild? But they're kind of in a rebuilding stage right now.
They are.
Georgia, I think they're going to be good defensively, but I really think they got off last year. It was perfect time. It was a perfect storm. So really, the only team that's really balanced like well to do damage is Ohio State.
Speaking of Georgia or a former Georgia product, did either of y'all see that video of Big Jordan Davis up there at Philadelphia Eagles camp pushing that lineman back like he was a little boy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's frightening.
I thought I was watching high school or something.
That's frightening.
And standing next to him, he did look like a little boy.
Yeah, he did look like a
and
kid.
that's bad when you make other linemen look little like that. Like, that's a 300-pound man. Like, he made him like a 12-year-old.
That's a big dude.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis.
And a big dude that can move.
And the crazy thing is...
he ran a 4.8.
What pick was he?
What was he?
He wasn't even top 10.
He wasn't top 10. Yeah. That's the problem.
He slid a little bit to the Eagles.
But he slid because, number one...
Everybody was scared. Everybody was questioning his speed and his movement.
How could you question it after that combine 40-yard dash?
They was questioning the movement on a couple other drills he did.
You can't question over 350-pound guy to run a 4.8. You can't really question that.
No, you can't question that. I'm talking about the movement and the other drills.
But I think it was about what he does and fit. The Eagles got Fletcher Cox, so he's gonna probably be the next
Fletcher Cox on the way out. I hate why everybody bringing this up.
But I'm bringing him up because they're the same player.
They almost are. Well, he wasn't running. Fletcher Cox wasn't running like that.
But he's still a big D tackle that can move, that's nimble, that's really doing what he's supposed to do. So that's why it's kind of like the heir apparent.
But like the great Andrew Whitworth proved the last couple of years, don't bury a guy until he's really done, though.
Yeah.
And Fletcher Cox is still a productive.
He's still producing.
I'm not burying him. I'm just saying he's year 13 or 14?
Yeah.
He's up there.
So, and that's my thing. They brought that young boy in for a reason.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. He's a more athletic version, but he's still that. So, that's the reason why. And it was all about fit. So, if you were a team that doesn't need a D tackle, even though he can rush the passer, he is there to stop the run. If you don't need a run-stopping D tackle, they're going to pass on him. No matter how athletic he is, they're going to pass on him.
Well, football is going to be off the chain.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Wait. I'm excited.
I can't wait.
Did y'all go to the game Friday? You went? Did you go?
I was not going to go to the game. I was at practice.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. My bad.
I ain't go to. I was at work. I
don't do preseason games. I'm sorry.
Shout out to my Purcell Marion Cavaliers opening the season on Saturday against Deer Park. We're going to be in the building. Yours truly coaching the no-fly zone up. But it's going to be a really exciting year for football, both college and pro, I think.
I think it's all levels, actually.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, high school, too.
High school's going to be interesting, either, especially with the Neal deal stuff going on.
The Neal deal. Have Nate always bring up the Neal deal.
Don't get mad, because it's running sports now.
It's always about the bread.
It's always about the money, baby.
So, transition away a little bit from sports this episode, I saw, one of the few platforms that I do still mention, Drink Champs. Mm-hmm. I saw the video interview with Irv Gotti and Ja Rule.
Lord.
It's hilarious.
Goodness gracious.
But you know what? Honestly, I walked away with a different viewpoint and a little bit different respect for Irv and Ja. Mm-hmm. Really just, looking back on their careers and their catalog, especially Irv Gotti as a producer, we're sitting here with quite the talented producer also, Brother X, running Timeless here. But I didn't realize Irv had his hand on so much back in the day. But,
he had, like we talked about yesterday, if he would have signed those 3 major artists at the same time, he would have ruined the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I was so hardcore 50 that, you know, like when that wave came.
Oh, yeah. And Jay-Z said it. He said, hey, yo, this kid coming in, man. Y'all got to watch out for him.
But not
he
only
told his whole team.
Yeah, he looked at Memphis. He looked at Beans. He said, y'all better get your stuff together. He said, I'm going to be straight. He said, y'all better get y'all stuff together.
Coming.
But going back to what Al said, man, and what you said, Nate, those 3 guys you're referring to, which is also the 3 guys that kind of saved Def Jam at the time.
They did.
Not kind of. But
they did. I ain't going to say kind of.
The 3 guys that we're speaking of is Jay-Z, DMX, and Ja Rule, who Irv has said for years saved Def Jam, and they honestly did. And they had kind of another music episode after that. They had Mos Def, Yasin Bey, I believe is his name now, and Talib Kweli on with the great Dave Chappelle.
All right. From
Yellow Springs, Ohio, which, by the way, we need to hit Issa up, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out Issa Ali, man. My guy.
But on the whole music tip, I asked you guys another question, you know, last night, because I do like to reflect on music from time to time. And I'm like anybody else. I fall in and out of love with it. And I tend to be stuck in my era mostly, you know, with my musical, you know, taste, especially as it relates to hip hop, not so much other genres. But I asked you guys, I said, name me your top 3 favorite record labels of all time.
I'm
not best or greatest. I said your favorite. We just want to learn about you, because you remember that's how it used to be. Like, you used to have record labels, whole squads, teams of artists, both R&B and hip hop. So I want to know from you gentlemen, your top 3 favorite record labels of all time. Big John, start off.
Now, if we're going through, like I said, if we're going to favorites, my order would be different. Number 1, my favorite would be Rough Riders, number 1. Number 2 would be Rockefeller, and number 3 would be Bad Boy. Now, if we're going off best, flip that, Bad Boy would be number 1, of course. But if we go into favorites, that would be my order. You know, Rough Riders is more like they came on the scene more like a family than anything. But, you know, they were corporate and they did what they had to do. But, you know, they also are the home of my favorite group after they left Bad Boy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, that would be my order.
Don't put that emphasis on after they left Bad Boy, though.
I had to put the well, they ain't just leave. They kind of had to kick the door open to get out. But they, you know, it is what it is.
Nate?
No, I gotta go last.
You ain't going last.
Why
man?
I can't go last? All right,
because he about to say slip and slide or something.
Slip and slide records. I am not. I refuse.
He about to say something crazy.
Even though they was a label that discovered Rick Ross, one of my favorite artists.
Right.
But
Ross.
It is what it is. But no, my 3. I'm gonna start with 3. Rough Riders was my number 3. My number 2, because I was a big Dragon fan. That's why Rough Riders was on there. Number 2 was Rockefeller, because I'm a Jay-Z diehard fan. Mm-hmm. My number 1, y'all probably we already talked about this. No Limit Studios. It's P. It's P. P is the number 1.
It's P.
P changed the music industry.
Man, you ain't got nothing better to do than play on the phone, man.
This ain't no P.
This ain't no P. But no, like my reason is because P changed music industry. He changed how the money was working. He changed how records was being released. P had people going to the record store every Tuesday, dropping out a different artist, dropping out different music. He had a terrible musical group, a terrible R&B group that went platinum.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Sons of Funk.
Sounds of Funk, bro.
No, they know Sons of Funk.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, Sons of Funk. Yeah. A terrible music.
Like,
the reason,
go ahead. I'm sorry, but
the reason I love P is for all those reasons, and it literally started out in the mud. His movement, the way he started out grinding, it was at a time where the South was not celebrated or leading the way like it is now. He had his own sound. He had his own business plan. You know, P is a mogul and somebody that really is respected by a lot of people, even outside of the music industry, for what he does, you know, business-wise. And, you know, as far as No Limit goes, I mean, it was like the soundtrack to, you know, our era as we started to get a little bit older, especially after we lost Big and Pac. him
he took over.
Yeah, him and Jay-Z kind of, stepped in.
They kind of stepped in, yeah.
So,
and then I never forget. Remember, we was in the neighborhood, and I'm About It was floating around the neighborhood. So, like, these are things like we didn't think of back then. We didn't think these were major moves, but he changed everything with that. He changed everything.
The two guys you just named, man, definitely. To quote the younger guys, got it out the mud with Jay-Z and P.
For sure.
I mean, nobody wanted to sign Jay-Z. Nobody wanted to give him, Dame, and Kareem a chance. They pretty much fronted their own self and pushed their papers and did what they need to do. And P did it out the trunk of his car.
Yep.
So
him, his little brother, and
you can't.
Tim
Both his little brothers.
Well, that famous story when I forgot what record label was meeting with No Limit and P and C Murder and wanted them to basically sign their life away for like $3 million. And C Murder really being mad at his brother P on the plane, like, man, we should have took that, we should have got that money. And P was explaining to him even back then the value of creative control, the value of owning and stepping into it. And
C Murder would have never had an album if they signed that deal.
Yeah. And continuing to be empowered and owning, your, what do they call it again?
The royalties?
Not the royalties, man. Come on, help me.
Your masters.
Masters, thank you. From the beginning. Understanding distribution deals if you are starting out, because that's something that Rockefeller, did. They stepped to the table, as Dane would say. I stepped to the table with chicken, Right. So it was just a distribution deal, mainly with Def Jam, that they did. So they were able to remain independent and call the shots. So for me, just to give me mine, I know number 3 for me would probably be Def Jam, because I feel like I always feel like Def Jam is the genesis of hip hop, like as far as where it started. Out that door.
Everybody wanted to be with that.
Def Jam is the machine. Like it's the machine.
Everybody wanted to be with
that pushed everybody. So.
But even Def Jam, that started in a college dormitory of Russell Simmons and the great. Come on, you know who he is.
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin. To think that sound came out of a college dorm room and what Def Jam became after that. So they'd be number 3 for me. Of course, number 2, y'all know what it is. I'm mad at Uncle Snoop right now, all right? Because you messing up my workouts and everything. You done snatched every Death Row record off of every platform where I can't listen to it. They don't even make CD players in cars no more.
Right.
I ain't got one in my Jeep, so
you gotta get an adapter.
I need a Death Row app to come out when it's supposed to come out, and hurry up on that, please. Death Row Records is always gonna be my second favorite. It's sort of a contradiction for where I'm gonna go with number 1, which y'all know. But if you just keep it about the music, which is what I am, Dr. Dre, Suge, Snoop, later on, Tupac, MC Hammer was actually on that record label, although he never dropped an album. Daz and Corrupt, Lady of Rage.
It was close though.
It was close, but
he was getting out of the deal prior to that.
RBX, that whole movement. I'm sorry, just when it comes to pure talent,
the West Coast was there,
and being gangster on top of it, which is what that era was about. Like it or not, they had it on lock. But number 1, of course, where my heart will always be. If y'all didn't know, I was once an honorary member of Junior Mafia and Bad Boy Records. I'm actually glad that I never met Puff or Big, though, because they could have turned me into a child soldier very easily. Whatever they said do, I would have did it and rode out for the cause.
You'd have ran off.
Love me some Bad Boy from the start. I'm talking about Craig Mack. I'm talking about B.I.G. I'm talking about Total. I'm talking about Faith, Black Rob, M.A. $E, the Locks. Carl Thomas, 112. I can keep going. Shine, that's my label. That's why I had floor seats when they came here for the reunion tour in 2016. Bruh, on the floor with the B.I.G. shirt. I was ready for it. So
I was in the bleachers.
But it takes you back. And I like the subtle diss that Puff did, or Diddy, as a certain generation knows him. I don't know what's going on with Mace right now and these crazy videos that he keeps putting out. I think he's just drawing attention to himself personally right now.
He wants money.
But
nothing else behind it. He
all
wants
Puff
money.
did was play the clip from the beginning of the tour. You know, they got the documentary on Netflix right now where Mace is on there. Let me do my best Murder Mace interpretation. And shout out to Mace because I love you, dog. This is not personal, but, you know, Puff, me and you never had a problem for real, man.
He wants money.
And that's all Puff posted. While you out here talking about this man that continually finds a way to give you a bag, which you've also been on camera and record saying, I don't know what it is with Murder Mace, but, you know, that's why.
I think he's bipolar, to be honest.
I don't think that, man. As you get older, you realize certain things. And I feel like Mace, because we all feel like Mace could have been way bigger than what he was.
He was.
He walked away from the game when he was on top. Nobody told him to do that.
Nobody told him to do that. But even think about my guys, the Locks. Even the Locks, the beef they had with Puff and them being young and them not really fully knowing the business. As they got older, they realized, all right, Puff didn't really do nothing wrong.
He just put the deal in front of us and we signed it.
He was a businessman. He did what he had to do. And we still got to respect him because he was the one that put us on. So they've grown and learned, but Mace is probably still a little, mad at, and he should be more mad at himself than anybody. But he's still mad. He probably still looking at it.
Who else knows Mace more than Puff does besides Cameron, right? Mm-hmm. Cam said the same thing. He said, you know what? He's like, Mace was always about the shiny suits. You know, he was for all that.
That was him.
The Locks were not, right. as we talked about. But Mace was for all of that. And he had the bag and he gave it up willingly. Right. Now, again, whatever the circumstances are, whether he was really trying to find religion or whatever the case was, Jim Jones would say he ran out of Harlem. I don't get into all that. I'm just saying, like, nobody besides Michael Jordan has ever recovered from leaving the top of your profession and coming back.
Yeah.
And that's what Mace did at that particular time.
And at the time, he really was on the top.
That's Kanye West's favorite rapper to this day.
And he can't. and the thing is, he can't come back now because he looks bad. And that's what's really making it even worse because everybody's like paying attention. Like, yo, even on the Clubhouse stuff he did where he's been went on rants and everything. Everybody ain't nobody listening to you no more, bro. Right. Ain't it's over. And like, just do what you're supposed to do. If you can get a deal, just doing shows, just do the shows and go on about your business. Or you can't drag nobody through the mud no more.
Or find another lane to get you some money. Like, it's other rappers that had to find another lane where it was, whether it was Uncle Nori with the podcast, find you another lane.
I think it's a laziness that happens too in situations like that. And it's a control thing because when somebody like Puff...
And the money ain't like it used to be.
When somebody like Puff pretty much did and ran everything and all you had to do was show up,
facts.
It's a little bit different now, especially the way the music industry is. You got to create your own buzz and everything else. And, again, like Jada said in the Locks, like it or not, man, that dude made us stars.
Yeah,
for sure. Period. For sure.
So I hope Murder Mace gets that together, and stops this whole foolishness with Puff, because we need, positive endings to these stories. I'm tired of, as Kevin Hart said, I believe it was, I don't know if it was on the Pivot podcast.
It was a Pivot. I know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, where he talked about, like, name one group, from back in the day musically or whatever that's still together. To this day.
Can.
Besides the Locks.
I'm about to say that because you can.
You definitely but again, we talk about one group.
Right.
One group out of how many?
Well, I mean, even though they have their problems, Wu-Tang's still together. They had
no, they're not.
No, they're not.
Why you feel like they're not?
Because they're not.
Okay.
It's a lot. That beef is a lot. That's deep beef. It's a lot of deep beef in regards.
Big Boy and Andre ain't even together no more.
They call each other Eric Blue Moon. What's up, bro? I'm just making sure you're breathing.
Stakeonia Records, but honestly, and in society also, because we joke about it, but we talked about sports, like, man, what could Donovan McNabb and T.O. have been if they stayed, right, together, and some other situations that, we remarked on. Now you got Scottie Pippen, who has, permanently destroyed any type of bond that him and, his airness could could have. And the guys are entitled to feel how they want to feel. That was their life, their career, whatever. But, everything shouldn't end by you saying, I'm David Ruffin, and these are the Temptations.
That's why I started the show like that. I said that was the perfect example why I did it.
And of course, probably the greatest R&B group of all time, New Edition. They go through their ups and downs more than most. But no, this was fun, gentlemen. We wanted to get back in the swing of things and continue momentum from last week after speaking with Mr. Miller and the Bengals, and get on to college football, touch a few different subjects. So as usual, folks, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube channel, on Facebook.
We everywhere. Everywhere.
It's just a click of a button.
That's all you got to do.
Views are nice, but I need likes too, man.
And subscribe. Like and subscribe. Please check out Factual Opinions Podcast. Also check out Life in the Jungle Podcast with me and Coach Cam as Bengals season takes place. So again, season 2, episode 18. For sure.
School's in session. I am Pharaoh with Will West, the best Nate.
You know it.
Big John, the Brown Bruce Wayne.
Yes, sir.
We'll try and do it better next time.